Over the past few years, the subject of book banning has become more popular. But what is book banning? High school English teacher Kaylee Bromley isn't a stranger to the topic.
Book banning can look like a lot of different things. We can, here at the school, decide as an English department or as a school that there's a book that's maybe harmful, and we can kind of informally take it off our shelves.
Books and reading are a staple in learning. Brandon University English majors Maya Walski and Roberta Manescu both believe that books are important and that banning books doesn't solve any problems.
I think for the most part it's kind of unnecessary. It kind of takes away from education and knowledge for people, especially young people.
I think it's kind of dumb, but it's something that people are really going to be pushing for, so it's important to, and pushing more for. Like, people feel really strongly about stuff like this. It's surprising, so it's really important to try and educate people and show them like why it's not a good thing.
Mayor Jeff Fawcett, who runs a book club in the community, doesn't mind reading banned books. Rather, he uses it to open up discussions.
So it doesn't affect our book club too much, but it's the kind of thing that we could talk about at a book club. And some people might say, yeah, I think there is some books to be banned, but that's the whole point of getting together, of being open to being able to read whatever you want, so you can have those discussions. And we do have the freedom of choice. So
the act of banning books takes away from students and limits their knowledge and ability to understand different circumstances.
My stance on it, though, is that knowledge is power, always. And reading things that you maybe disagree with a little bit actually helps you grow and helps you be more empathetic. And we shouldn't agree with everything that we read, but we should at least read it.
I'm a big fan of reading, and I think that you need to be able to be exposed to everything. And I think the more that you read, the more you're willing to discuss things with people, the less you're affected by these books that everybody wants to ban. Like, you realize that there's a context to them.
Learning is one of the biggest aspects of life, and without books and reading, there's no learning, no growth, and no change.
I feel like book banning ultimately doesn't have the effect that it intends, and sometimes can actually cause more harm because it is limiting people's worldview and limits then empathy.
So taking away those things, you aren't learning them anymore, and that's not good, because I think to be a good human, you need to understand all sorts of different perspectives.
The power reading gives you is why every English teacher in the world is always telling you to read. With the absence of reading, there's no room to develop as an intellectual who understands society.
School's not necessarily only supposed to be a comfort zone. Learning happens when we step out of our comfort zone, or when our beliefs are challenged, or the status quo is questioned a little bit.
And if you ever want to understand things, you need to read things you don't understand. So I think it's important to sometimes read the book that some communities wanting to ban, because why are they wanting to ban that? What's the message here? And I don't know, I always equate books with learning, so I hesitate to ban anything.
For the people banning them, they just want to sleep well at night knowing that they and their kids won't be uncomfortable, which is it's always important to be uncomfortable, because that's like stepping out of your comfort zone is how you just learn more about the world and other stuff.
School is designed as a place where we're supposed to learn everything we need to know about the real world. But what if all those books that we read that show us what the world is are taken off the shelves? Then everyone's going to grow up thinking everything is black and white, when in reality, our world is messy. Society is messy. Our history, there's a lot of it. And without the books that show us what our history is and how we got to our lives today, without that, society will be taken for granted, and our world is taken for granted. I'm going to leave you with one quote from the author Ray Bradbury. The problem isn't with banning books, but it's with the people who stopped reading them. My name is Kira Stevens. I'm a media and communications student at Assiniboine College, and this has been my counter narrative.